Is it possible that Canelo, one of the best fighters in the world, is throwing his hook wrong? Yo, what's up guys? It's Jared from Punch Therapy, and today we're going to be talking about Canelo Alverez and how he throws his hook. So I'm sure all of you guys have watched a clip of Canelo killing the heavy bag with some hooks, right? Now, if you pay close attention to his left hook especially, and his left foot, you'll notice one thing. He doesn't pivot off his left foot when he throws his left hook. Now, if you can remember back when you went to the boxing gym for the first time and you started learning boxing, what did all the coaches teach you? They started off teaching you the left hook by making a giant pivot with your front foot, whether you were left-handed or right-handed. Some coaches would use the term putting out the cigarette or squashing the bug. And in my opinion, Canelo is one of the best fighters of all time for sure, and I think he's pound for pound king right now. Is it possible that Canelo, one of the best fighters in the world, is throwing his hook wrong? Is he doing everything backwards? Is it true like Oscar de la Hoya says and Canelo does everything wrong and he's flat-footed and he's off balance all the time? The answer is no. How would he be one of the best fighters of all time if he does everything wrong? Alright, so let's get into it more in detail. When you're first day at the boxing gym and you're learning the hook, what they do is they teach you how to make a big pivot like that with that lead foot when you throw the hook, right? And they often say, put out the cigarette or squish the bug, okay? Now, what Canelo does is he sits down on that punch and he does not pivot with his foot. He might make a slight shift, boom, like that, but he rarely puts his foot up like that. But what you will notice is that his power and all his hitting comes from his hips first. He leads with his hips and sits down on the punch, okay? And this helps. If he misses the punch, he's still grounded. If he gets hit as he's throwing the hook, he's still got some weight to his legs. Sometimes if you make a pivot too big, you can get knocked off balance and out of position, especially if you miss a punch. Now let's get into a few reasons why I think we're taught this in the beginning when we're just starting out in boxing. A couple reasons. I think people have trouble transferring their weight, right? Boxing power is all about transferring your weight, right? Left, front foot, back foot, right? And in the beginning, people tend to just arm punch without doing any rotation, right? They're just trying to muscle the punch. And what pivoting does is it gets you to sync up your lower body with your upper body. And that way you're not just using your upper body wasting power, wasting energy. And what you'll notice in the pros is that a lot of guys don't even pivot at all. They just rotate with the hips and shoulder. But what happens, right, if you don't look at their foot, it looks like they're flat-footed, but they're not really. They're still transferring their weight in, right? The knee and the hip and the shoulder, okay? All that weight is still getting transferred. So if you see a guy not making a big pivot, it doesn't mean that he's not gonna have power. Just because you make a giant pivot like this does not mean you will have more power to your hook. Now, does that mean it's wrong to pivot? No, absolutely not. What that does mean is you need to practice both. You need to practice making a big pivot on some hooks, and then making a medium pivot on others, and then also not making much of a pivot at all, just using the hips and transferring the weight just like that. So in my opinion, it's not wrong to pivot small, it's not wrong to pivot medium size and big. So to me, it would seem that if you want to be the best fighter possible, you have to do what the best fighters do, period. All right, guys, that's it. That's all. I'm Coach Jared from Punch Therapy. Thanks for watching.